Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. My name is Kristin O'Donnell, and I want to thank Boston Public Library and Hands to Heart Center, and also say that Hands to Heart Center Yoga for the People is a nonprofit organization that shares the healing practice of yoga with people affected by addiction, poverty, and trauma in the greater Boston area. Hands to Heart Center would like to thank Boston Public Library for partnering with us on this virtual project. And I'm Kristin O'Donnell. This is Marshmallow. And feel free to start in a seated or lying down shape. If you have two blocks or two books, you can use those as props. And if you have any blankets or cushions or anything that you might like to help support you in this practice, feel free to reach for that and have it nearby. Finding a seated or lying down shape in your own time. Whenever you're settled into that shape, you might choose to close your eyes or maybe have a soft gaze in front of you. And whenever you're ready, maybe starting to notice your breath. Noticing each inhale. Noticing each exhale. You might start to be aware of how fast or slow your breath might be, how long or short each breath might be. And without judgment, without needing to change anything, allowing yourself to observe and see what might be coming up for you this afternoon. Noticing your inhales and exhales. You might even notice your body moving with your breath. Maybe your chest rises and falls. Maybe your abdomen expands and contracts. Maybe your arms and legs move with your breath. A lot of times we don't realize that we're always moving because we're always breathing. As long as we're breathing, our body is involuntarily moving with the breath. So possibly noticing any movements in your body as you're breathing in your seated or lying down shape. Allowing yourself to notice and be aware of what might be coming up for you. If you're lying down, taking a few moments there, taking a few minutes in your seated shape if you're in either shape, and maybe starting to gently move your head from side to side, letting the movements be soft, maybe finding a slow movement or maybe making it fast, whatever feels right in your body. Please know that this is your practice, so you can move in any way that feels right in your body. I'm here as a guide, and you could choose to follow along with me as well, but you can also move in any way that feels right for you. Maybe continuing to move your head from side to side, maybe moving your head up and down. If you're lying down, you might notice that this becomes a little harder to do because the floor is underneath you. Whenever you're ready, maybe coming back to center, and if you are lying down, maybe slowly making your way to a seated shape. If you're seated, maybe continuing with any head movements. If you'd like, you can choose to move your head in a circle. Once you make your way from lying down to seated, if you were lying on your back, you might choose to add some more head movements. Maybe moving your head in circles might be one choice. Another choice might be moving your head from side to side, or possibly moving your head up and down. In your own time, maybe slowly bringing your head back to center and possibly starting to move your shoulders. Maybe starting by moving your shoulders up towards your ears and then lowering them back down. You might experiment with that movement. Maybe you choose to move your shoulders in circles. If you choose to move your shoulders in circles, maybe moving them in one direction. And in your own time, maybe moving your shoulders in the opposite direction if you did choose to move your shoulders in circles. Finding any movement that you might like in your shoulders. And whenever you're ready, maybe slowly starting to bring your shoulders down to rest. Another choice might be to give yourself a big hug. So maybe reaching your opposite hand to opposite shoulder or somewhere on your upper arm, maybe even your elbows. Finding as big or as small of a hug as you might like. And you might choose to stay in this hug shape, or you might choose to add some movement, maybe inhaling, bringing your head to look up towards the ceiling. Maybe your arms follow. And maybe on your exhale, possibly choosing to bring your head to look down towards the floor. Maybe your arms follow as well. Possibly moving up and down. Possibly being still in this shape. Taking a few more moments to move on this side of the hug. And whenever you're ready, slowly coming back to center in your own time. And maybe bringing your arms down. We'll move into the hug on the other side. So whichever arm was on top, that arm will be on the bottom. So once again, bringing your arms into that hug, bringing the opposite arm to the top this time. Hands reach for your shoulders or your upper arms or elbows. Maybe pausing in this shape for a few moments. Or if you'd like, maybe starting to add movement. Maybe inhaling, head looks up towards the ceiling. Your arms can choose to follow. And possibly on your exhale, maybe bringing your head to look down towards the floor. Maybe your arms follow as well. Finding any movement or stillness in this shape. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe starting to make your way back to center. If you had your arms in that hug, you can bring them to the sides, maybe moving them from side to side a little bit, shaking out anything that might have come up with that movement. And whenever you're ready, if you'd like, you might start to move your upper body from side to side. This movement can be as big or as small as you might like it to be. Finding any movement from side to side. Another choice might be to move your upper body forward and back. Maybe experimenting with one or both choices. And a third choice might be to add some movement in your upper body in circles. Maybe moving your upper body in circular movements. Moving in whichever direction you might like to start with. And if you did choose circles, eventually making your way to move in both directions. Again, one choice might be to move your upper body from side to side. Another choice might be to move your upper body forward and back. And a third choice might be to move your upper body in circles. If you chose those circles, maybe doing a few in both directions. And whenever you're ready in your own time, maybe slowly starting to find your way back to center. If you'd like, maybe bringing your right hand down to your mat and possibly reaching your left arm overhead into a side stretch. You might choose to pause on this side of the shape, maybe for a moment or two, Or if you'd like to add some movement, you might choose to make your way back through center and make your way to the other side, bringing the left hand to the floor, right hand overhead, possibly pausing on this side of the shape for a few moments. And in your own time, if you'd like to add movement, moving from one side to the other. Finding any movement or stillness in this shape. Maybe working with both movement or stillness. And really allowing yourself during your practice to listen to your body, listening to what might feel nice, what you might want to do more of, listening to know if something feels like too much and maybe you should back off and do less of it. Maybe moving one more time in both directions, or finding whatever movement or stillness you might like in this shape. And whenever you're ready, starting to make your way back to center. Maybe if you'd like, moving into a twist to the right side, inhaling or bringing your arms up overhead. And if you'd like, on your exhale, maybe reaching your right hand back behind you, left hand resting on your right knee. If you'd like, once in the twist, you might choose to inhale and lengthen your upper body in this shape. And maybe on your exhale, you might choose to move a little bit more into the twist. If you'd like, inhale, lengthen your upper back. And maybe on your exhale, twist a little bit more. You can feel free to experiment with that movement, lengthening and twisting. In your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe coming back to center. If you'd like, you can bring your arms up overhead. And in your own time, moving into the twist on the other side, bringing your left hand behind your back. Right hand might rest on your left knee. And once again, experimenting with some movements, maybe inhaling, lengthening your spine, and maybe on each exhale, maybe twisting a little bit more into the shape. If you'd like, inhale and lengthen, and exhale, maybe twisting a little bit more. Finding any stillness or movement in your twist on this side of the shape. And in your own time, coming back to center, maybe reaching your arms up overhead and eventually bringing them down by your sides. Maybe adding some movement into the arms if you'd like. You might choose to bring your arms out by your sides and back into center, maybe doing this movement a few times. Another choice might be to bring your arms up overhead. Maybe they come through center together, or maybe they come through center and then reach out away from your body. So finding any movement you might like in your body with your arms. Maybe it's the same movement every time you move, or maybe the movement changes each time. Allowing your arms to move in any way that feels right for you. Maybe allowing your body, if you can, to bring the movement where it wants to go. Maybe if you'd like, adding breath with your movement, or maybe choosing to move separate from your breath. And if you'd like, maybe taking another moment or two to experiment with moving your arms in any way that you might like. And then whenever you're ready, starting to bring your arms down to rest in your own time. If you'd like, maybe inhaling, reaching your arms up overhead, and on your exhale, maybe choosing to fold forward. You might start to bring the hands in front of your body, maybe keeping your back straight, or maybe curving your lower back to walk your hands closer to your body or further away. Adding whatever movement or stillness you might like in your body with this forward fold. In your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe slowly starting to walk your hands back to seated if you're not already there. And maybe moving into a gentle back bend. You might bring your arms behind your back. And if you like, maybe bringing your head and chest to look up towards the ceiling. You might choose to pause in this shape, or if you'd like to add movement, maybe you choose to move your head, look down at the floor, and in your own time to bring your head to look up towards the ceiling. Possibly adding movement or stillness in this gentle back bend. And whenever you're ready in your own time, maybe starting to bring your head back to center. Eventually, maybe bringing your hands back to center as well. And in your own time, if your legs are crossed, seated in a similar shape as I am, you might choose to extend your legs out in front of your body. Maybe taking a moment in this shape. If you'd like, you can point and flex your toes a few times. Hands might rest on your legs. Maybe they rest on the floor by your sides. Possibly noticing how your legs and your feet feel as you're flexing and pointing your toes. Letting this movement be as fast or slow as you might like it to be. In your own time, maybe letting go of that movement, you can choose to pause in this shape. Or another choice might be maybe to bend your right knee, maybe bringing your right foot to rest on top of your upper left leg. And if you'd like with your hands, maybe once again moving your foot to flex and point a few times. This time, letting your foot be passive, with your hand being the one that's doing most of the work. Doing that a few times in your own time, maybe moving your foot in circles in one direction, and in your own time, maybe moving your foot in the opposite direction. And whenever you're ready, if you'd like, maybe bringing your right foot this time to rest against the left leg. That knee stays bent. Maybe bringing your upper body to rest in front of your left leg. And if you'd like, you might inhale, maybe bringing the arms up overhead. Maybe on your exhale, you choose to bring your hands to rest anywhere on your left leg. Maybe they rest on your upper leg. Maybe they rest on your lower leg. Or if you're able, you might be able to hold your feet or your toes. Taking a few moments on this side of the shape. If you'd like, another choice might be to add movement. Maybe you choose to walk your hands up and down your leg a few times. In every shape, you can always experiment with movement. You can always experiment with stillness. So please know that even if I don't mention it, you can choose to move in any way you might like. So choosing to have stillness in this shape or choosing to have movement. And in your own time, maybe coming back to center whenever you're ready. If you'd like, you can bring your right foot to rest on the ground. This time the knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. You might bring the arms around the right leg, maybe pausing, staying facing the front of your mat. Or if you'd like, you might choose to bring one hand behind your back, maybe starting by bringing the left hand behind your back, moving your upper body to twist over to the left side. And if you'd like to add movement, maybe coming back through center and bringing your right hand behind your back, twisting over to the right side. Option to stay still facing the front of your mat, or choices to move in a twist on one side or the other. Finding whichever movement or stillness you might like. And in your own time, finding your way back to center and maybe straightening your right leg down your mat. If you'd like, you can choose to bend and straighten your knees a few times in this shape. And whenever you're ready, letting that go and moving into the other side. This time bending the left leg, bringing the left ankle to rest on the upper right leg. And with your right hand, moving your left foot to flex and point the toes. So this time letting the foot be passive and allowing your hand to be doing the work. Moving your foot to flex and point. Doing that a few times, as often or as little as you might like. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe letting that go, maybe moving your ankle in circles. You might continue with that movement. You might choose to move your ankle in circles. Again, the hand is the one moving your foot, letting your foot be passive. And if you chose to move your foot in circles, you might choose to go in both directions. And whenever you're ready, letting that go and maybe bringing your left foot to rest against the right upper leg. The knee stays bent. Upper body might look towards your right leg. And then maybe inhaling, bringing the arms up overhead. On your exhale, you might choose to fold over your right leg. Hands might fall on your upper leg, your lower leg. Maybe you can hold your foot and toes. Maybe you choose to add movement in this shape. You can also choose to walk your hands up and down your leg a few times. Experimenting with stillness in the forward fold, or maybe experimenting with movement. Finding what works in your body on this side of the shape. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, slowly starting to make your way back to a seated shape. If you'd like, maybe bringing your left foot to the mat, the left knee points up towards the ceiling, and you might bring your arms around your left leg, maybe keeping your upper body to face the front of your mat. Or if you'd like, you can bring one hand behind you, maybe this time your right hand, twisting to one side. And in your own time, maybe choosing to bring your left hand behind you, maybe twisting to the left side. Experimenting with movement from one side to the other. Or choosing to be still on one side or the other. Whenever you're ready, finding your way back to center and maybe straightening your left foot. If you'd like, you might once again bend and straighten the legs a few times. And in your own time, maybe finding your way to your hands and knees. If your knees are a little sensitive and you have a blanket or a cushion, feel free to bring it to your mat to help cushion your knees in this shape. And whenever you're ready, bringing your hands and knees to your mat. You might notice your wrists coming under your shoulders, maybe bringing your knees under your hips. And finding your way to your cat-cows in your own time. Maybe inhaling, bringing your head to look in front of you. Maybe there's a little curve in your lower back. And on your exhale, maybe lowering your head down and curving your lower back up towards the ceiling. Moving back and forth at your own pace, in your own time. And once again, maybe choosing to be still, or maybe choosing to add movement. You can always choose to experiment with one of these shapes rather than both. Or maybe you'd like to combine both shapes as well, finding whatever works in your body, whatever feels right in this moment, and knowing that what might feel right today in the moment might not feel right tomorrow. So really listening to your body no matter what movement you do, finding your stillness or movement in your own time. And if you'd like, whenever you're ready, maybe slowly starting to bring yourself back to a neutral back. Maybe moving your gaze to look over your shoulder at your left leg, your left foot. And then maybe doing the same on the other side, moving your gaze to look over your right shoulder at your right foot. You might choose to move back and forth in your own time. Again, allowing this movement to be as fast or slow as you might like it to be. Choosing to pause and be still wherever you might choose as well. Whenever you're ready, maybe finding your way back to center in your own time. And if you'd like, possibly coming into your first downward dog of your class tonight. You might choose to keep your palms where they are on the mat. You might choose to bring them a little bit forward from where they are. Maybe pressing your toes into the mat, straightening your knees, and bringing your hips up towards the ceiling. Option to add movement here, or once again, you might choose to add stillness. If you choose movement, one choice might be to bend and straighten one knee and then the other, as if you're walking in place, walking your dog, as I like to say. Another choice might be to move your hips from side to side, or maybe choosing to bend and straighten your knees a few times. Moving or being still in any way you might like in your downward dog shape. Whenever you're ready, if you'd like, coming to stillness if you're not already there, and maybe bending your knees, slowly starting to walk your feet towards your hands. You might find your way to this forward fold, possibly bringing your opposite hand to opposite elbow, maybe swaying from side to side, maybe choosing to shake your head yes and no a few times. Finding any choices in this shape. And whenever you're ready, maybe lowering your hands down and slowly bringing yourself up to standing, bringing your head up last, finding your way to standing in your own time. If you do have a blanket or cushion on your mat, feel free to move it aside. And then finding your way to your standing shape. Maybe bringing your feet so that they're hip width apart. You can take two fists and bring them in between your feet, and that's about as wide as they should be from each other, 2 fist length. And once you're there, if you'd like, you can start to rock back and forth, maybe finding your way to your tiptoes and then making your way to your heels. Moving forward and back on the balls of your feet to your heels. Slowly making this movement smaller and smaller until eventually your feet make their way back to the mat, and maybe they feel more evenly placed on the mat, maybe they don't. See if you can find a way of standing where all four corners of your feet feel as though they're touching the ground. And if you can't, that's okay too. Allowing yourself, as we did at the beginning of class, to notice and be aware of where your body is in this moment. Now that your feet are grounding into the ground, if you'd like, you can lift your toes, see if that affects your balance. And maybe imagining a string pulling your head and spine up towards the ceiling so that your spine starts to elongate up away from your legs and your base. Almost imagining your body moving up and down in both directions. Taking another moment or two in a standing shape. Letting your shoulders relax if you notice any tension being held there. And whenever you're ready, if you'd like, maybe starting to bring your arms up on either side of your body and then allowing them to fall. Maybe one arm falls in front of your body, maybe the other falls behind. Maybe efforting bringing the arms up by your sides and letting it fall. Maybe this time it's the opposite. The other arm comes forward and the arm that came in front last time comes behind. Doing that at your own pace, letting yourself effort, bringing your arms up, and then letting your arms fall. Really allowing yourself to build a rhythm where you're bringing your arms up by your sides and you're letting them fall at their own leisure, letting them go once you reach that spot to pause with your arms up by your sides. Allowing this to be at as little efforting as can be. You can move your torso from side to side and maybe even letting go of all efforting, just letting your arms swinging from side to side. Letting this movement be as big or as small as you might like. Allowing your arms to move as fast or slow as you might like. And whenever you're ready, slowly starting to bring the movement to be smaller and smaller, slower and slower, until eventually you make your way back to standing with your arms by your sides. Finding your way to your warrior one. So again, you're facing the front of your mat, maybe bringing the left foot behind you, keeping your right foot forward, maybe bringing a bend in your right knee, keeping your knee in line with your ankle. And if you like, making sure that your hips are facing the front of your mat. Once in the shape, you might choose to bring your arms up overhead, maybe relaxing your shoulders. And you can experiment with how wide or how small your stance is in this shape. If you'd like, maybe choosing to add some movement, maybe bending your elbows, bringing them by your sides from the front. You might look like this. Maybe doing that a few times, bringing your arms up, straightening your elbows, and in your own time, bending your elbows, bringing them by your sides. Possibly doing that a few times. Maybe adding the breath with your movement, or maybe choosing to breathe separate of the movement. In your own time, maybe raising your arms up overhead one more time. And finding your way to warrior two, you might start to bring that back foot so it's parallel to the back of your mat. You might bring your right arm forward, left arm behind you. This time your hips are sort of pointing at an angle away from the front of your mat. And once again, keeping a bend in your right knee. Finding this shape if you'd like. And maybe pausing in this shape in your warrior two, or possibly adding some movement. If you'd like, you might bring your back hand to gently rest on your back leg. Right arm might come up overhead. You might choose to pause in this shape. Another choice might be to bring your upper arm, your right upper arm to your right upper leg. Maybe your left arm comes over your head. Maybe pausing in this shape for a few moments. Or if you'd like to add movement, you might choose to move back and forth from one shape to the other. Finding any movement or stillness in your body, in your warrior two, or in any of these shapes that we might be moving back and forth or pausing in. In your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe choosing to bring yourself back to your warrior two. And if you'd like, once in warrior two, maybe straightening your front leg. Option to stay here. Or if you'd like, maybe hinging your upper body and right arm forward as far as they could go. And possibly bringing your right hand down to the floor. Or if you have a blocker book, bringing your hand to rest on that. Left arm might reach up overhead. Gaze might look up to the sky or down at the floor. Maybe keeping your core engaged so that there's minimal weight in your right hand. Finding any movement in this shape if you'd like, or maybe pausing in stillness. In your own time, finding your way back to standing, and maybe starting to open your feet out to the side so that your toes are pointing towards the far, long edge of your mat. And possibly bringing your hands back to that bent elbow stance. If you'd like, maybe adding some bends in your knees, maybe bending your knees, and then possibly straightening them in your own time. If you'd like, you can also choose to move your arms up and down as well. Finding any movement or stillness in this shape. And whenever you're ready, maybe bringing your hands down by your sides, maybe straightening your knees, and possibly slowly bringing your feet back in towards each other. If you'd like, you can face the front of your mat. And whenever you're ready, maybe bringing all of your weight to your right leg. Arms might end up at your hips, or maybe palms touching in front of your chest. If you'd like, finding your tree shape, maybe bringing your left heel to rest against your right ankle. Option to stay here with the left toes on the mat, or maybe bringing your left leg above or below your knee joint into your tree shape, making sure you keep your foot off of your right knee, keeping your left foot above or below your knee, and maybe pausing in this shape to balance, maybe finding a spot in front of you to focus your gaze on. Another choice might be to bring your arms up overhead, maybe growing your tree branches. If you'd like to add movement in this shape, you can choose to move your arms from side to side, maybe pretending it's a windy day, and then finding whether your balance sticks or maybe it doesn't, and giving yourself love no matter what comes up. Whenever you're ready, maybe lowering your hands and your leg, maybe shaking all of that out in your own time. And if you'd like, possibly finding the front of your mat once more. And this time, maybe bringing your right foot behind you into your warrior one on the other side. Left foot stays in front, maybe bringing a bend in your left knee, keeping your knee in line with your ankle. If you'd like, hands can come to your hips, making sure your hips are facing the front of your mat. And if you'd like, you might start to reach your arms up overhead, maybe relaxing your shoulders in this shape. You might choose to pause here in your warrior one. Or once again, if you'd like to add movement, you might start to bend your elbows, pausing in this shape, and then in your own time, straightening your arms back up towards the ceiling. Maybe bending and straightening your arms a few times, or you can choose to be still in this shape. If you found any other movement, feel free to experiment with that as well. Whenever you're ready, in your own time, maybe straightening your arms back up to the sky if they're not already there. And then possibly opening up to your warrior two. The right foot ends up parallel to the back of your mat. Left arm comes forward in front of you, right arm behind. Again, maybe keeping a bend in your left knee. Option to pause in this shape. Or maybe starting to add movement. If you'd like, you can bring your back hand to your back leg, maybe reaching your left arm up overhead. You might choose to pause in this shape for a moment or two. Another choice might be to bring your left forearm to your upper left leg, maybe bringing your right arm up overhead. Maybe pausing in this shape for a few moments. Finding any movement or stillness you might like in your body. Choosing to pause or add movement in any of these shapes. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe slowly starting to make your way back to your warrior two. And maybe finding your warrior two, if you'd like, you can start to straighten your left knee. Maybe pausing in this shape, or maybe starting to hinge forward, bringing your upper body and left arm forward. Maybe that left hand gently rests on your left leg. If you do have a block or book, you can bring your left hand to rest on the block or book. You can also choose to bring your right arm up towards the ceiling. If you'd like, keeping your core engaged so that there's minimal weight in your left hand, gaze might be up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor. Option to add movement in this shape, or maybe you choose to be still. In your own time, whenever you're ready, coming back to standing, maybe lowering your hands down by your sides and slowly bringing your feet to meet each other at the front of your mat. Few choices with your feet. You might keep your feet hip width apart. You might choose to bring them that your big toes are touching, or maybe your big toes and your heels are touching. Finding your way into chair shape. Bending your knees, sitting your hips back. Option to keep your hands at your hips, maybe arms come up overhead. One choice is to be still in this shape. Another might be to add movement, maybe bending and straightening your knees a few times. Whenever you're ready, straightening your legs, maybe bring your hands down by your sides. And finding your tree shape on the other side. Maybe bringing all your weight to your left leg this time. Hands might be at your hips or palms touching in front of your chest. If you'd like, you can bring your right foot so that the heel is resting against your left leg. Maybe pausing in this shape with your toes on the floor, your knee joint to focus your gaze on. Up overhead to grow your tree branches. Maybe moving your arms from side to side, pretending it's windy. Maybe choosing to be still. Finding any movement or stillness in this shape. And no matter what comes up, whether there's balance or not, maybe giving yourself some love, no matter what. In your own time, maybe lowering your hands and your leg down to the floor. And possibly finding your way to the floor, maybe by coming into a forward fold once again. Option to take a moment here and in your own time, maybe bring your hands to the mat, maybe walking your feet back into your downward dog. And in your own time, maybe bringing your knees to the mat, finding your way to a seated shape. If you'd like, you can bring the bottoms of your feet together. And another choice might be to bring your blocks or books, if you have them, underneath your knees. The hands can stay resting on your feet. And maybe once again, bringing your head and spine to elongate up towards the ceiling. Noticing how this shape feels in your body. Adding movement here if you'd like. You might sway the upper body side to side. You might choose to be still. And in your own time, maybe finding your way back to center if you were adding that sway. And bringing your hands underneath your knees, you can start to bring them towards each other and then maybe starting to extend your legs out in front of your body. If you'd like, maybe inhaling, arms reach up overhead. Maybe on your exhale, reaching your hands anywhere to rest on your legs, whether it's your upper legs, lower legs. Maybe you can touch your toes and your feet. Maybe you choose to add some movement. Once again, you can always choose movement, maybe walking your hands up and down your leg a few times. Maybe choosing to walk your hands to a certain spot and maybe pausing there. Taking whatever movement or stillness your body might be asking for right now. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe finding your way back to a seated shape. If you still have blocks or books on your mat, you might choose to move them to the side. And in your own time, maybe finding your way to lie down on your back. Taking your time, getting to the floor. You might choose to keep your legs long, maybe choosing to bend your knees, bringing your feet to the floor. And maybe taking a moment or two to notice how your body is resting on the floor. It's lying down. You might start to notice that there are parts of your body that are touching the floor, and maybe there are parts that are not touching the floor at all. Allowing yourself to be aware and to notice. And to start listening to your body and what it's trying to tell you. If your legs are long, maybe start to bend them, bringing your feet to rest on the mat, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And if you'd like, bringing your left ankle to rest on your upper right leg into your figure 4 shape. You might choose to stay in this shape. Another choice might be to bring your hands behind your right leg, bringing both feet up off the floor. If you chose this shape, you might keep your feet flexed. You might bring your legs closer to your chest. And if you do to add movement in either shape, you might start to move your hips from side to side. Adding movement or stillness. Keeping one foot on the floor or lifting both feet up off the floor. In your own time, whenever you're ready, finding your way back to bring both feet on the floor so that your knees are bent, pointing towards the ceiling. And whenever you're ready, maybe moving into the other side. You might choose to bring your right ankle to rest on your upper left leg. You might choose to stay in this shape. Or if you'd like, you can bring your hands behind your left leg, maybe bringing both feet up off the floor. Keeping both feet flexed in this shape if this is the one you chose. And in either shape, maybe finding some movement, moving your hips from side to side. Finding your way to stillness or movement. Leaving one foot on the floor or bringing both feet up off the floor. Whichever feels right in your body, and allowing yourself to listen to what your body wants in this moment. In your own time, maybe finding your way back to center, gently bringing both feet back to the floor. And if you'd like, you might choose to hug your knees into your chest, maybe starting to rock from side to side. Or you might choose to move your legs in circles in this shape. If you chose to move your legs in circles, maybe doing you in one direction. And in your own time, maybe reversing that direction, possibly going in both directions. Possibly moving from side to side. Finding any movement or stillness in this shape. And if you'd like, maybe coming back to center and possibly bringing both legs over to the left side of your body. Left leg might be on the ground, right leg might be on top. You can choose to bring your upper body to follow so that you're lying on your left side. Or if you'd like to move into a twist, you might extend your arms out on either side of your body in a T shape, or maybe bending the elbows if you don't have enough room. And you might choose to bring your gaze over your right shoulder so that your upper body is twisting towards the right and your lower body is twisting towards the left. Maybe pausing in this shape if you'd like, or if there's some movement you might like to bring into it, feel free to do that as well. In your own time, maybe coming back to center, you might start to hug your knees into your chest again. And whenever you're ready, you might choose to come to the other side, maybe bringing the right leg to the ground, left leg on top, moving your lower body towards the right. If you'd like, you can bring your upper body to rest on the right as well. Or if you'd like to move into your twist, you might extend your arms out in a T shape on either side of you, or maybe keep your elbows bent if you don't have enough room for the full T shape. And you might choose to bring your head to look over your left shoulder. So you might notice in the twist, your upper body is moving towards the left side, your lower body is moving towards the right side. Taking a few moments in this shape, choosing stillness or movement. If you find some movement in this shape that you want to bring in, feel free to do so. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, maybe starting to come back to center, you might choose to hug your knees into your chest one more time. Maybe adding some movement here once again, moving from side to side. You can move from front to back as well. And whenever you're ready, in your own time, finding your way to your rest shape, maybe keeping your knees bent, feet on the floor, maybe starting to straighten your legs with your legs long down your mat. Arms might rest on another part of your body. Maybe your arms end up resting by your sides. Or if you'd like to rest on your side, feel free to do that as well. If you do have props with you for this class, feel free to use them to help support and cushion you. You can choose to bring some blocks or books and a blanket or a cushion underneath your feet to elevate your feet. You might choose to bring a blanket or a cushion underneath your knees for some cushioning there. Or maybe bringing a blanket or cushion underneath your head as a pillow. Allowing yourself to find any other support that you might like or need that maybe I'm not mentioning. And if you'd like, possibly closing your eyes or keeping a soft gaze in front of you. You might choose to keep your body moving in this part of the practice. Feel free to do so in any way you might like. Or you might choose to be still as well. Please allow your body to move or be still in whatever way feels best in your body. And maybe starting to bring your attention to your breathing. Maybe noticing once again your inhales and exhales. Maybe noticing how fast or slow, long or short they might be. And you might even start to notice your body moving with your breath, as we discovered at the beginning of class. Maybe notice if the same body parts are moving with your breath, or maybe you're being more aware and noticing other body parts moving with your breath as well. I'll be silent for the next 2 minutes of class. So feel free to move in any way that you might like during the time, or feel free to be still if you would like. In your own time, maybe slowly starting to bring some movement back into your body. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. Another choice might be to move your wrists and ankles in circles. And a third choice might be to bring your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. If you'd like, maybe slowly starting to make your way to lie on one side. And then eventually, whenever you're ready, maybe pressing your hands into the floor to make your way back to a seated shape. Finding your way to a seated shape in your own time. And whenever you're ready, if you'd like, maybe bringing your palms together in front of your chest. May the light within me honor the light within each of you. Namaste. Again, I'd like to thank Hands to Heart Center and Boston Public Library for making this class possible. And my name is Kristin O'Donnell. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.